We have the green. Release our brakes. By the way, people who are on YouTube, welcome back. Train Simulator 2019, KermMartian here. This is KermMartian Live number 35, Train Simulator 2019 number 3. This is part 2 of this particular video, so if you are just joining and have no idea what's going on, you should go watch part 1. If you don't want to watch part 1 because you're a rebel and you do what you want, not what people tell you to do, then feel free to stick around. We are taking a British Rail Class 47 diesel-electric locomotive with 16 freight cars along the Great Western Mainline to London Paddington from Bristol Temple Mead. And I just stopped at a signal there to do a little break in the video because I've been playing for quite a while and I didn't want people on YouTube to get bored or be like, oh man, this is a 3-hour video, what the heck are we going to do about that? I'm not watching 3 hours of trains. So, anyway, here we are. It feels like we never left. I feel like this locomotive is struggling a little bit. I feel like next time if we play the Great Western Mainline again, we absolutely need to do it with CPR R1 and a nice fast train. Amfleets? Anybody for some Amfleets? I feel like that could be fun. I feel like that could be fun indeed. Oh, of course, that's another thing that's been happening in my life. A tidbit for the part 2 video. So I got to take a almost cross-country Amtrak trip 2 months ago now? Almost 2 months ago now. Over 2 months ago now. Just about 2 months ago. Sorry, I digress. So I was in San Francisco for some geopipe marketing stuff, a couple of conferences, a game development conference and a GPU programming conference. And I wanted to take the train back. So I was planning to take the California Zephyr from San Francisco to Chicago, and then the Lakeshore Limited from Chicago to New York City. Unfortunately, there was a lot of flooding in... Where was the flooding? Nebraska? I want to say it was in Nebraska, near Omaha. Anyway, we had to be rerouted. They were doing a standard reroute because the normal route that the train takes was underwater. We got to Chicago about 8 hours late, and that was just late enough that I missed the once a day Lakeshore Limited. So I unfortunately didn't actually get to go cross country on Amtrak. I only got to go from San Francisco to Chicago and then had to fly from Chicago to New York. And while Amtrak did refund my ticket from Chicago to New York, that means I still haven't taken my cross-country trip. I have a lot of amazing photos that I look forward to sharing with you guys on Chematech at some point. But that was a little rocky. But no true cross-country trip. So that's still something in the future for a KermMartian, and there will no doubt be videos, posts, photos, and Twitter posts galore about that when I actually do it. An underwater train sim scenario. I mean, we've done underwater train sim scenarios before. They've just been, you know, tunnels under rivers. So, I feel like that's probably not quite what you mean. What's going on? Well, what's going on is I'm taking a freight train, and I'm taking it for some reason from Bristol Temple Meads to Paddington because London has some freight that it needs, and I have that freight. And I guess we have to come up with a backstory for why it's so deserted. Maybe it's a holiday weekend. Maybe there was an apocalypse that killed all the people except the people waiting at the train stations. Because we've definitely seen some people waiting for trains. And we have urgent post-apocalyptic supplies. I don't know. There's freight. It needs to go from point A to point B, and we are the ones to do it. You'll notice some cool antennas over to our left there. Cool antennas. Check. Oops, sorry. Clicked the wrong thing. These kind of look like microwave antennas to me rather than cell antennas. Oops. Trees. I don't know. What do you guys think those are? Yes, the California Zephyr does not have a great on-time record from what I saw. The Empire Builder is worse. I have a piece of software that I've been experimenting with for a few years now, tracking Amtrak trains, and it is regularly half a day to a day late, and I think the Zephyr is not quite that bad. It's usually 8 to 10 hours late, but I really thought we were going to make the Lakeshore Limited. In fact, they were holding the train for us, and I thought they were going to hold the train for us, but I think we got there about 15 minutes after they pulled out of the station. It was so frustrating. And I was far from the only person on the train who was trying to make a connection. There were some people trying to make the Lakeshore Limited. There were some people trying to make the Capital Limited. So, alas, connections were not made. And because I had urgent meetings in New York the next day, I could not simply get the Lakeshore Limited the next day. Microwaves. You agree microwaves? All right, microwaves it is then. Almost knocked my beverage over. All is well, though. Screenshots. We have the highball. I know what I know what ASM is because a friend of mine runs ASM. What is ASMAD? Please and thank you. I got the same friend to give me the SQL database of all of 2018's Amtrak data, and I indeed am looking forward to running some analytics of my own. Specifically, I'm curious to predict train delays. If you are a Chemetech member, you probably have seen the Amtracker project and/or thread. Like everything else in my life, I have had no time to work on that with GeoPipe, but one day. Of course, I'm doing this instead of working on that. Archive database. Got it. I did not realize that there was such a thing. I'll have to go and look for it. What I wanted from him, so he had the raw dumps of the Amtrak API data, I believe, of train positions and so on for all of 2018, and that was information that was very, very useful. I think that's what he has. I hope that's what he has, because that's what I'm looking for. Did you ever post the results of that analysis to Chemetech, Mr. Jonathan Bush? Because I feel like that would be something I'd be very keen to read. We were at Wantage up Maine. Let's see. That means we're almost at Steventon, which will be 56 3/8 miles to London Paddington. Also, I have my air conditioner off for the sake of a nice, quiet audio stream for you guys, not too much background noise, and I'm afraid that it's a little toasty in my locomotive today. That's fair, John Bush. That's fair. Was it something that you worked on a while ago? We are speeding along at a nice 95 miles an hour. We sadly cannot go the 125 limit here, and all is well. We have not derailed a single car today, despite trying very hard to do so. Oh, 2 years ago, okay. Yeah, I love that post you made about your cross-country loop. I was really looking forward to making this huge topic about my trip. I should probably do so anyway. I wrote down extensive notes on my trip while I was taking it, and I certainly took a ton of photos. I suppose a thing to put on my to-do list would be to organize my photos, start thinking about turning all of my prose, my rather lists of text of what happened, into prose, and then posting up an article or a post. But that is in the future, I'm afraid. Time is definitely the resource I have the least of these days. Sadly, we must be going down a hill, yes. 96.8 miles an hour. Ooh, 80 degrees, that's rough. That is rough indeed. I will, excuse me, a little yawn there. I will certainly admit that I have occasionally used my computer's rather serious power to heat my room during the winter when my space heater is not quite doing the trick. Ooh, the Canadian! Oh! I will be so envious if you take the Canadian. I very, very much want to take that. If you do, you must take many photos and write all about it, John Bush. Cross-country trains are best trains. Ooh, I have a Vermonter trip coming up too. In June, I will be heading up to Vermont on the Vermonter for the first time in, almost exactly 2 years. It might be 2 years to the day. It's pretty close. So I will be happy to do that again. I think I've alluded in the past to how much I like Vermont and how much it seems like a cool place to be. So it'll be nice to return there for a little bit. What other Amtrakking have I done lately? A couple of trips up the Northeast Corridor and down to visit my co-founder. That cross-country trip, and that's about it. Pretty much every weekend I find myself taking commuter rail to the train museum at which I volunteer, but sadly not as much Amtrak as I should be. Are you an aspiring professional photographer there, John Bush, with a DSLR or something of that nature? Also, I see that it is just you two that have continued to stick with me for the entirety of this journey, so I thank you for your loyalty. Didcot up Maine. So we have about 53 miles left until London Paddington. Saw some nice little houses over there. Very nice, very pastoral. A little town, very nice. Ooh, I should have sounded my horn for that grade crossing there. Sorry, guys. Happily, everyone stopped for the crossing anyway. Clearly, we need Jeremy Clarkson to make a PSA about what happens if you do not stop for a crossing and get struck by a train. Which, by the way, is a thing that Top Gear actually did back in the day, if you've never seen that PSA. Also, I feel like we should have gotten an AWS ding there, but we didn't. Nathaniel Van Diepen! Apparently, Restreamio hasn't figured out that we have 3 people here. Wow, talking's hard. Has not figured out that we have 3 people here. I think the problem is I do not have enough water here to drink. That is the problem. How's it going, Nathaniel? I was hoping you were going to stop by and say hello. Ooh, I probably should have told Geek Boy that there was a stream going on tonight, especially since it's an HCWP evening. I have highlighted him. Busy as always. Good, good. Wait, is that red signal for us? I think it might be. Uh-oh. No, I didn't get a SPAD. That must have been for the next track over. That was weird. The signals were poorly aligned. Racing through Didcot at 94 miles an hour. Whee! A little bit bouncy on those points. Ops. You know, I don't have my IRC client open, Nathaniel. That is probably the difficulty. I've been getting a little bit lazy lately and sometimes only having my Discord client open. What channel did you need opt on, Nathaniel? Oh, I see. Never mind, sorted. We really should work on some of that stuff. But again, time. I feel like that's the theme of the evening. Nobody has any time. Ah, alas. Sup, Laura? Hope all is going well with her and you guys and all that good stuff. Will we see y'all for Maker Faire this year? Actually, I suppose that goes for everyone in the channel. You should all come to Maker Faire this year. And everyone watching this video, World Maker Faire in New York City, usually at the end of September, beginning of October, is a great time. Lots of fun, lots to learn, lots to see, lots to do. Whether you like electronics or programming or crafts or mechanics or whatever. Streaming on your TV, that's a lot of Kerm. I'm glad I'm not using my face because that would be way too much Kerm. I do like the blue of this old British Rail livery. It's quite distinguished. Ooh, I hate unexpected dental expenses. I had a year or 2 or 3 of those, and it was very poor for my budget, I have to say. AWS alert for the 120 that's coming up. That does not affect us because we can't go faster than 95 miles an hour. The last millennial, yes. Under time in the dictionary of Kerm, it simply says see no. We are now passing Chelsea, the town of Chelsea. Very sort of filled with plants, the platform of Chelsea. Let's see what we have on our route map. 48 3/8 miles to milepost 0, or Paddington. 48 miles to go. Let's see, we're going to be crossing over the River Thames twice soon on either side of Goring and Streatley, if I'm pronouncing that properly. So look out for the River Thames. There it is. Hello, River Thames. Ooh, they're using better water shaders than they used to. I think that was the River Thames. If we rather get to a station and then cross a river again, then that was indeed the Thames. Max speed 95 m, presumably ph. Sorry about that. Clicked away. I think I've talked about this before. I have Train Simulator on my top left of my 5 monitors and OBS on my bottom left of my 5 monitors, so I can keep an eye on my stream as I play. That also means occasionally I forget that my bottom left monitor with OBS on it is not the actual Train Simulator and try to click on that to change things, which means the Train Simulator loses focus, and then when I give it focus again, it goes to the menu. So apologies about that. Coming up is Goring and Streatley, as promised. Platform 2 is what we're going to be racing past. suppose I should sound my horn when we get close to the platform to alert any passengers waiting for trains that we are not there for them. Another monitor, yes, I definitely have insufficient monitors. My setup has not changed since you've seen it, Eames, so clearly I do indeed need more monitors. That was Goring and Streatley. We should have the River Thames crossing underneath us again at some point. Might be up there. Ooh, frame rate. Come back. What are you doing? Icon has frame rate mobile? Why is this so terrible? Huh. There we go. Michael Baker, hello. Long time no see. Trains. 2 screens? Oh man, I'm disappointed in you, Nathaniel. You can do better than 2 screens. I know you can do better than that. Even Geek Boy has 3 screens. In our 120 zone, that's fine. AWS is ding. Let's see, that was Boring and Streatley, if I'm remembering that correctly. Goring, excuse me. Goring and Streatley, not Boring and Streatley. Next is Pangbourne, then Tilehurst, then Reading, then Twyford, then Maidenhead, Taplow, Burnham, Slough, Langley, Iver, West Drayton, Haynes and Harlington, Southall, Hanwell, West Ealing, Ealing Broadway, Acton Mainline, let's see, Westbourne Park, Royal Oak, and London Paddington. I guess 5 computers is sort of equivalent to having 5 monitors. I feel like though it's harder to use 5 computers at once than it is to use 5 monitors at once. Well, we're simply racing right past whatever station that was on the fast lines. It appears that the Great Western Mainline has now divided into the fast lines, which we are on, this track and the one track to our right, and the slow lines, which is the 2 tracks to the left. And remember, left hand running in England, so we are on the correct track. Yeah, I really shouldn't even mention it, but I replaced my graphics card about 8 years ago, my motherboard about 8 years ago, my CPU about 8 years ago, and I think my RAM and hard drives 10 to 12 years ago. Well, that's not strictly true. I've been doing gradual replacements of my hard drives over the years, but there are definitely some parts of my computer that are older than I should be relying on. Then again, the desktop that I'm currently using for trains is not my primary computer. That would be my laptop, which I replace every few years. Partially out of a desire for something faster and more powerful, partially out of necessity because I bring it everywhere and it tends to break pretty frequently. What sort of monitors do you have your eye on, Eames? Also, hello. Oh, visitor number 4 was Michael Baker. What's up, Michael Baker? What are you up to? Ooh, that was a rather abrupt curve there. We have a 60-mile-an-hour zone coming up. Let's start braking for that. I think we got an AWS ding there because we are not accelerating and we have some brakes applied. So it didn't want to yell at us anymore. 84 miles an hour. 80 miles an hour. Ooh, very nice. 57 miles an hour. I think we're going to be okay. It's going to be close though. 71. One more break. 67. 65. 63. 62. Beautiful. That'll do it. Just barely. That was perfect. That's what we like to see. Yep. I hear that 1 year, sorry, excuse me, 1 decade rig age. Ooh, all right, we have the fast lines crossing over here. Let's see why. Give ourselves a little bit of throttle. Or are we just getting elevated without actually going over anything in particular? We're just getting elevated. This is interesting. Ooh, there is something that goes underneath us. Looks like a branch line. Ooh, and storage sheds. Oh, I think I've been here before in Train Sim World. I think I may have been here in Train Sim World. This looks very familiar. Of course, in Train Sim World, you can actually get out and walk on the ground. Yeah, we're at Reading. Yes. I've been in this yard in Train Sim World. It was significantly more detailed and made my computer significantly less happy. And let's see if we can figure out what that branch is there for. This is Reading. 52 miles an hour, speeding up slightly. Then that was the Reading Basingstoke line and the Reading Taunton line. Going down this hill, our coaches are pushing us. Let's use a little brake. There we go. Very nice. Can release those brakes. AWS says all is well. All right, we are on the home stretch from Reading to London Paddington. And I actually have operated on this section of the line before in Train Sim World. Sadly, because there's so much more, presumably, work required and computational load of the maps in Train Sim World, they only can have much shorter lines. So the 50 miles, not even, 36 miles from Reading to Paddington. So this is our opportunity to operate a much longer route, the well over 100 miles we've been operating since my mind blanked there suddenly. Bristol Temple Meads. I think I said Bristol Temple Mead earlier. People of England, I apologize. Alright, we are in a 95 zone and we're coming up on a 125, so let's speed up. We've got places to be, people to see, and things to do. Ooh, I have an incoming call. I'm going to have to ignore that call and send a text message. Of course, if I was doing this properly, I would have my phone turned off and in a locked black case. Gasometers, now I get it. You're talking about those. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying. I think they were too far back there. Yeah, those things back there. Yep. Got it. Now I know what they're called. Never knew. Gasometers. Gasometers or gasometers? I assume it's gasometers. Why are we staring at our seat? That's not a very good thing to stare at. Let's stare forward. Yeah, I don't know why I have a mental picture of these cases being black. My engineer friend that I occasionally chat with, well, more than occasionally chat with, but occasionally chat with about being an engineer, I think indicated that his is like a black leather case that he locks his phone inside when he's operating. But therefore, I suppose that means they all have to be black. Gasometers. 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 Gasometers? Gasometers. All right. Gasometers it is. Rumbling down the main line, coming up on Twyford. Twyford, I believe. As always, I apologize profusely for any murdered pronunciation. Twyford is 31 miles. 31 miles to London Paddington, milepost 31. Gasometers, yes, thank you. AHM maybe? Gas AHM eaters. Whee! That felt a little fast for that curve, but all seems well. I suspect that should have been super elevated. It didn't look like it was. A little bit bouncy in our loco here. 93 miles an hour. We're almost back up to our maximum speed of 95. I really should. Other people were suggesting that I link Discord to Twitch and YouTube and use that for the chat, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I think having everyone else on voice chat would probably make this even more exciting. So what I've done in the past is I've had friends like Geek Boy, for example, co-host the stream with me. In person works a little bit better because of the delay of video chatting. But I think it would be fun to get the rest of y'all involved as well. The only potentially annoying thing would be I would be talking about things that I could see and you guys would be responding audioly in real time. Excuse me. Ooh. I never talk this much. Whereas what you would be seeing on your screens would be a little bit delayed. But I'm sure we could figure it out. Clearly I should drink more of my beverage here. That's true. We could talk about things other than trains. That's always exciting as well. I definitely do not use... Well, I was going to say I don't use Discord voice chat enough. I think I haven't really voice chatted with anyone lately. So, for reference, this is a Wednesday night here in the real world, for those of you who are watching this later on YouTube. And for many, 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 many years, our programming and games and everything else group, Chematech, has had a Wednesday night video voice conference called HCWP, Have Calculator, Will Program. And lately we really haven't bothered putting it together. I have to say it's probably like 2 years now where people only very sporadically show up. And it seems like, although people sometimes frown on bringing non-programming stuff to HCWP, bringing gaming things like this, that it could be a good excuse to kind of at least temporarily merge the two and stream trains during HCWP and just voice chat with the rest of y'all and see what's up, what you're working on, etc. Well, that's your loss, missing out on HCWP. The one person who might have a problem is our venerable Brandon Wilson, who I think is not super fond of gaming during HCWP. Also, TI Freak 8X used to be really not a fan, but he unfortunately hasn't shown up to HCWP in probably more years than you have, Eames. All right, 95 miles an hour coming up on, what is that going to be, Maidenhead? Yes, that's going to be Maidenhead platform 2. Maidenhead is 24 1/8 miles until London Paddington. Yes, I've definitely discovered that being in a relationship significantly changes how I apportion my time between things like work, my personal projects, play, and socializing. So I certainly can neither be surprised nor blame you there. The trick is to combine your interests, figure out a way to make HCWP relevant to your significant other. On the other hand, I will say that I'm also a fairly big fan of, even when you're in a relationship, having separate interests. I feel like that is sometimes helpful. But let us not get too far into philosophy with trains. It's a good way to get distracted and miss a signal. Philosophizing. I have seen no bad signals. There's a better word than bad. I paused there because I was trying to think of the word bad. Countermanding? No countermanding signals, I think, is what I'm working on. Working to think of for quite a while. So hopefully we'll be clear all the way into London Paddington. Although I suppose I will probably have to play with some switching tracks to get us to the right place. Aha! What is she learning to program? Or what do you want her to get to learn to program? I feel like calculator programming is always the best place for somebody to start learning programming. I know this great book that I can recommend. You know, totally unbiased, of course. I think it happens to have my name on the cover, but that's a total coincidence. Alright, here's our train, just to remind you, especially if you're new and haven't seen it before. You know who you are. BR Class 47. We have a nice diesel electric locomotive pulling 16 freight coaches today. Freight wagons, excuse me. See if I can get a track side view. There we go. Oops, lost it. Hey, you're still here, The Last Millennial. Just because it's the only book doesn't mean it's not the best book. Ooh, you have a signed copy, Eames. Very impressive. I wish I was that cool. I feel like this has not had the most variety in terms of, like, see, that's the thing I like about passenger services. You have to stop at stations. There's the challenge of trying to stop at the right place in the stations, you know, getting the speeds right so you stay on schedule, but sometimes it's a little bit more relaxing just to do these long distance journeys. So I'm pretty happy. And we've had a few close calls with the train almost derailing, so there's that. I mean, why would I sign my own book? I know how my signature looks. I put it on enough formal geopipe forms. I feel like having it in my own books would be a little superfluous. Dear KermMartian, keep up the great work. Love your book. Love, KermMartian. We have the highball. Alright, so I believe we should have about 20 miles left to London now. If we see another station, there we go. Slough, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is coming up. That marks 18 3/8 miles to London Paddington. Let me save. I haven't saved in a while. Everything's going a little too well. If we derail, I want to be able to fix it. We've also had surprisingly permissive speed limits. We've been able to roll along at our 95 miles an hour for quite some time. Sorry, that was a little bit of a late warning for the passengers waiting for their train that they should step away from the platform edge, but there we go anyway. Do you have a copy of this book of which we speak, The Last Millennial? I think you do, right? What I'm not sure about is whether you have a signed copy of it. Since we're getting so close to London, I feel like I should look over my list of things I talked about again to see if there's anything I missed. So I talked about how, since it's been like 4 or 5 months since I did a train sim stream, that Geopipe continues to take all my time. I continue to go volunteer and work with trains. Socializing takes a little bit of my time. Chematech I haven't spent much time on, but there are dedicated people who are keeping it running smoothly. That I took a almost cross-country Amtrak train 2 months ago, that I'm going to get to go to Vermont soon, which is going to be awesome, and I can't wait to take the Vermonter again. Let's see. I think that's about it. I think there's really not a whole lot else to talk about. Oh, and we talked about the fact that maybe we should have this as a voice chat where you guys can join in the future, which I think sounds like a good idea. I would love to have you as a guest, Eames. That would be delightful. The Last Millennial, that's shameful. You've done so much. I feel like you should have a copy of the book. I really should make it a prize for one of our contests at some point. I think I've done that in the past, and it seems like it would be a good thing to do in the future. I feel badly that our current programming contest does not have a prize. Also, Iver is coming up in just over a mile. That marks 14 3/4 miles to London Paddington. And at some point I'm going to stop and check how the tracks are lined up into Paddington, but for now we'll just wing it and hope that things go well. Take another sip of my beverage here. Delightful. 2 hours. Amazing. I appreciate you guys sticking around for that long. Ooh. Yes. Yes. We would love to collaborate. In fact, it's been a little too long since Chematech and Omnimagia have run a contest together. I feel like that is a thing we should probably do in the near future. We'd certainly welcome a donation of a prize for the current contest, but perhaps for Chematech Contest 23 we can make it a cross-community contest. I probably shouldn't bring up such a controversial topic on the stream. Obviously I'm doing it anyway because I'm talking about it. I haven't seen news of a certain third calculator site in a long time. Are they still around? Is that a thing that still exists? Hello, frame rate. Thank you. West Drayton, platform 2, which we are going to charge through. 13 1/8 miles. Nice little houses over there. We're definitely getting into the suburbs now since we're only 14 miles from the center of London. Not TI Planet. That's not the one I mean. You know the one I mean. Nathaniel knows the one I mean. They had a bit of a kerfuffle a short while ago, and I haven't heard much about them lately, but presumably they're still there. It continues to warm my heart that people still flock to Chematech, even though, I know we struggle a little bit with the more popular we get, the more there are newbies asking questions. I'll say not news, but newbies asking questions. Not quite the right way, but I think we continue to be blessed with a rather mature user group who can help train our less mature users a little bit. Yep, that's the one. Ooh. We suddenly have catenary that has arrived above. We are going quite fast, it feels like, for these tracks, but speed limits say it's okay. So notice the overhead wires that have just appeared, so if we had electrified trains, we could use them. So there was this whole controversy, I know I've talked about this on my stream and in my videos before, a few years ago now, where the Great Western Mainline, which is what we've been operating along, was supposed to be electrified along its length. Then there were all kinds of politics. They said it was going to take way too long, and to my knowledge, electrification of the Great Western Mainline has not been completed. In fact, the brand new Class 800/801 that is rolling out, that I love, that is the basis for how the CPR-R1 in Train Simulator looks, is diesel electric for the Great Western Mainline, and fully electric for example, the East Coast Mainline, the ECML. Yep, that's why I haven't really posted on Chematech lately, Nathaniel. Lack of time. Too much work. It's a constant refrain. John Bush and the Last Millennial, thank you for checking. That is good to know. Good to know indeed. Shout out to the fourth person I think is watching the stream, who has not chatted in the chat. I think I know who you are, and hello. Ooh, is that a gasometer over there? Would you say that's a gasometer, John Bush? Over there to our left. Just look around my cab here for a second so you can enjoy, as I do, how nice the interior of this train is. I have a nice comfy seat. It's just like an armchair. This is Southall. Southall is 9 miles to London Paddington. We're really getting there. We are rolling along. The expert gasometer, or exactly, that's exactly what you are. That is your main area of expertise. At some point we're going to have to slow down. I'm really keeping my eye out for those speed limits. I will definitely poke you guys about being contest partners in crime, and I'll also certainly poke you about being a guest. I know Geek Boy and I definitely have talked about doing another stream. Ooh, that is really close to the track. I am definitely running my train through that bridge. That's close. Jeez. Yeah, we were going to do it the last time he was in New York. In March, I think it was. But unfortunately, we didn't get the time to do it. Hopefully, we'll do it soon. Maybe I can get both of you on at once. I think we'd have some great banter with the three of us chatting while operating trains. It's kind of a shame that it's not a multiplayer game, in fact. I think that can be particularly fun. I feel like you two would do your best to run trains into me, though. AWS says ding. Check my AWS up there, still looks fine. All our dials look good. We have brake pressure, should we need it. 130 PSI it looks like. Plenty, plenty. Ooh, Factorio. Yeah, you keep telling me about Factorio, and my friend Earth Dragon has also highly recommended Factorio as something I enjoy. But I think it's going to be like Pokemon Go and Train Simulator and Age of Empires and everything else. Minecraft, everything else that I have no self-control over. It's too fun, and I'll never stop playing it. You may have a server. Sounds like you do have a server. Alright, we have a 100-mile-an-hour limit coming up. I see it there. I bet we're going to get an AWS alert about that in a little bit. But we don't care because we're going 95. Passing through a station here. Didn't see what station that was, I'm afraid. Although it might have been Hanwell or West Ealing. There's our AWS alert for the 100. We are already down for the 100. That's fine. I did catch you. Well, you didn't exactly make it very challenging. So I think one day in Train Sim World, I was having a problem with the trains and I couldn't actually get into the train, so I ended up walking in the game on foot using my computer like 2 miles up the line from London Paddington, which was amusing. I don't think Train Simulator was meant to be a walking simulator, but I'm glad we're in a train. We're going much, much, much faster than I would have been able to go on foot. Considering we've already covered 100 plus miles. Alright, we're going to have another speed step down soon, I'm sure. Let's see if we can figure out what station this is. Standby uno momento. Of course I clicked on the wrong thing again, as I do. Come on. Our train is running away. Off it goes. I love that it keeps playing the sound of a train running away even though your train is still there. Information. Acton. Acton? That's not on my map. Oh, there it is. Acton Mainline. All right, so we're almost at London Paddington. Ooh, we only have 4.5 miles to go. All right, let's keep our eyes open. Keep our eyes open indeed and straighten out this camera view. I appreciate you guys sticking with me this whole time. The dedication is much appreciated. All right, we have a 50 coming up, so I'm going to throttle down. Start coasting towards that 50. Looks like we have a nice little train storage facility over there to the side. Very nice, very nice. Put on a little bit of brake so we can... Yeah, I know, I see it. Get down for that 50. There's our warning board for it. And we got our AWS alert. That red is facing the other way happily. Now we're going 84. I think I need to use a little more brake. I certainly keep my eyes open when I'm driving trains. Fear not. Fear not. Eyes peeled, maybe. My eyes are normally unpeeled. 73 miles an hour, 72, and my computer apparently is struggling a little bit with the amount of geometry that we need to load for, you know, London. All right, train simulator, or rather, the simulated AWS system likes what we're doing. It thinks we're going at good speed. That's good to know. 58 miles an hour. Painful indeed to get your eyes peeled. 55. I'm going to lay off my brake now because I think we're going to coast down to 50 in time. Maybe not. 52 and a half. Nah, a little more brake. 51. There we go. That should do it. No, we're speeding up. Come on. Come on. 51.0. Give me 50.9. Come on. Come on. There we go. 50.9. Very good. That's how you make a time schedule, boys and girls. You go 0.1 miles an hour under the speed limit. Whee! Crossing over. Uh-oh, where are we going? I should probably check where we're going. We're coming up on a 40 mile an hour limit. It looks like we may be like 1 to 2 miles out. Oh, look, Paddington. I bet that's a platform for us. Oh, buffers. We're getting there. We're almost there, ladies and gents. Almost there. 1.5 miles to go. Coming down for this 40 mile an hour limit. There we go. We made it to 40. Release our brakes. AWS wants us to know that there's a 40 limit, but we know already. Thank you very much. Actually, we're way too far under the 40. Let's give ourselves a little bit of throttle. We have places to be. We have a yellow. We're going to get an AWS alert here. Yep, there it is. That was a TPWS ramp that we just went over. Track 3. And yes, I am accelerating slightly. We're going to be going down a hill into Paddington. So we may speed up a little bit. I don't think it's much of a hill based on the HUD there. $37 miles an hour. I'll cut the speed there. AWS, I guess, wants us to know about that red that's right in front of us. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Problem. Serious problem. Huh. Interesting. We just passed the signal of danger, and yet the game didn't end. Fascinating. Alright, I guess that's not implemented in free roam. Waiting for our brakes to release. No, they are released. Do we have to go? Oh, we have to go back into forward. There we go. So, we tripped emergency by going through a red, but apparently we can proceed anyway. That was interesting. And sudden. Very interesting. I suppose that's my bad. I should have assumed that those alerts were not just for speed restrictions, but were potentially for a danger signal. And they were. That's exactly what they were for. Yeah, we'll crawl along here at 11 miles an hour. We're almost into Paddington.
Yeah, a little bit more. Why not?
Speed! Power! A little bit more.
Everyone needs some speed.
I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, who are not on the train because this is a freight train, welcome to London Paddington Station. We hope you've had a pleasant ride from Bristol Temple Meads along the Great Western Mainline all the way to the city of London. It has been a pretty eventful / uneventful journey. We had a few close calls with speed limits and derailments there, but we stayed on the track. We didn't have our game ended. The game did not crash, and we ended up here at London Paddington unscathed. I appreciate you guys all joining me today. It's been a great pleasure to have you here. I hope that in the future I'll get to have you for future train simulator streams, and I hope some of you will get to be guests as well, especially if we do that voice chat thing that we were talking about, which sounds like a great deal of fun. And other than that, I hope you have a great morning, day, evening, whatever it happens to be in the real world for you. Hope you have plenty of trains. Let me get us to a stop here. Very good. Put us into neutral. There we go. Step out and admire our train. Very good. Here we are, London Paddington Station. Safely arrived. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining me. It's been a great pleasure to operate trains with you once more. I hope I get to do this much, much sooner than it's been since my last video. As always, you know, I have a YouTube channel, so feel free to do all those things that YouTubers always ask you to do. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.